After learning about the Daily Mail's airlift with 99 orphans, I decided I needed to talk to more people who were on the flight to see how their lives were affected. Vance is an entrepreneur from Lurgan in Northern Ireland. When he was a child, his mum sat him down and told him about the airlift.
Yeah, ice cream. Sat me down, I think around about 12 or 13. Not that I didn't already know something, but just sat me down and said, look, this is what happened. This is what happened. There was a war in Vietnam, and it just wasn't possible for you to stay there, else you wouldn't have survived, or your likelihood of survival would have been very low. And then you came over here, and we just felt that God wanted us to adopt someone. Funny enough, I was the only baby left, so I had no choice. But
On the same flight was Philippa, who was also adopted by a British family.
So they'd already got one Vietnamese daughter, and I think somehow somebody must have contacted them and said, how do you fancy taking on another one?
Thanks to the flight, they have both had safe, healthy lives in the UK. But that doesn't mean they weren't let down by the Daily Mail in other ways.
They bundled all these kids onto this plane, and the story, that they had to do quite a lot of work afterwards to match the kids up with the right paperwork.
The red tape was broken. No birth certificate, no nothing. My age, my name was wrong.
I understand I had to go for a psychological testing, for them to be able to match me with my paperwork and correct age.
After being identified, Philippa's documents were given to her new parents. As well as her birth certificate, some photos were also brought over from Vietnam.
This is what I do hang on to, is I say these baby photos of myself, and this is the interesting one, I suppose. I don't know who these people are, so I don't know whether that's the foster carer. I don't know, whether that was my mother and this older boy. I don't know, but
Vance had even less documents to answer all the questions he had. For years, he searched for any biological family that might be out there, until in 2016 he received a message from someone claiming to be his mother. Skeptical but intrigued, he returned to Vietnam.
She sat down beside me, and next minute she grabbed my hand and started crying, and I didn't know where to look, you know what I mean? And this is, well, obviously we need a DNA test, because, this is only to put it right. The DNA test came through, and, she was my biological mum.
Through perseverance and some luck, Vance was able to find his family. But out of all the orphans on the Daily Mail's flight, he's the only one whose search was successful.
If I hadn't found my biological mum, I think I'd probably be in a worse state today. Simple as that. And maybe I wouldn't be here today.
But for Philippa and the rest of the orphans on that flight, they've had to come to terms with the fact that it's unlikely they'll ever get to meet their biological parents.
The energy, the amount of energy, you see people that have spent years trying to find their, original parents and that sort of thing, and I just think, because I've just told it would just be really hard to do so, which is why I'm quite amazed, like you said, you found somebody who has traced their parents, I think.
Today, Philippa feels little connection to her country of birth or other Vietnamese people, with one exception, her fellow passengers on the Daily Mail flight.
But yeah, I assume we will be this quite unique, group of people that have got this connection of being, say, on this plane together and then being adopted by English parents. And I'm sure there was a girl in Barnsley, who was on the plane, and there were just bits from her. I had to smile because there were bits from her story about growing up, which I thought, rang true with me.
But Philippa's connection to the other orphans might go beyond a similar upbringing. This letter from the orphanage to its sponsors highlights the experiences they shared.
In the 2 weeks leading up to Christmas, they were involved in many festivities. They did not all go to everything, but everyone went to something. For this first Christmas in England, we tried to make it a traditional one, and as uncommercial as possible. Neil, the man in our team, and much loved by the children, dressed as Father Christmas. He unveiled himself at the end, as we didn't want the children to think of an anonymous, unquestioning provider. They know that their presents come from each other and friends who love them.
After talking with Philippa and Vance, I realised to truly understand the Daily Mail's intentions, there's only one person I could ask. The person who made the flight happen.
Well, the name is Brian Harry Fremantle, and my connection with the Babylift was organising it for the Daily Mail. I went to the editor and I said, why don't we rent a plane and fly to Saigon and be their rescue? And he said, you couldn't do it. And he bit me that I couldn't, and I did. He never paid me the £5 note either.
Even half a century later, Brian is adamant that saving the lives of 99 orphans was the priority of the mission.
You know, some could call it a publicity stunt. Do you think that the needs of the paper or the Daily Mail were ever put ahead of the needs and well-being of the children?
No. No, never. No. I believed what I did was necessary, and I am not ashamed of it. In fact, I'm quite proud that 96 children survived. The editor, Sir David English, responded by saying, maybe it was a stunt, but it was a stunt that saved the lives of 96 children.
With Brian, this is what it came back to. There may have been some mistakes made, but at the end of the day, there are people alive today that could have died if it wasn't for the Daily Mail. And he's not wrong. But if the people on that flight need closure, there's still no systems in place to help them get it. For Vance, it meant years of searching for answers. But for Philippa, and maybe for others, it's enough to know there are people like her out there, across the UK with a similar story and similar questions. She can't remember them, but there's a strong chance she's played with them as a child, exchanged presents with them at Christmas, and maybe waved goodbye when they were adopted and spread across the UK.